Today I will be sharing some quick and easy slow cooker recipes with you. I know a lot of people keep their slow cookers hidden away all year round and they only pull out their slow cookers like in the fall and winter, but I actually like to use my slow cooker the most in the summer just because you are able to beat the heat. Today I'll be sharing 6 easy dump and go slow cooker recipes with you that you will absolutely love and be making all season long. Let's get to my kitchen and let's go get to slow cooking. To kick us off today, we are making this taco pasta. This one is perfect because you could basically make it with pantry staple ingredients. It's simple but has such bold flavor. Add a pound of ground beef to a pan on the stove. Just break it up and cook it through. Once it's cooked through, remove any excess grease from that pan. If you don't want to use ground beef, you could always use ground chicken, ground turkey, or any meat substitute. Just add your ground meat into a slow cooker. Then you're going to toss in 1 red bell pepper. Make sure you dice your red bell pepper, but then add in a can of diced tomatoes along with a drained can of corn, or you could use frozen corn if you like. Then add in 1 cup of salsa along with 2.5 cups of water. Next, add in 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, and then you're going to give this a stir. Let this cook on low for about 6 hours. Once the cooking time is up, you're going to want to add in your rotini pasta. I found that rotini pasta just cooks the best with this recipe, so that's why I'm using it, but it's just 12 ounces of that. Give it another stir, and then you're going to let this cook on high for about 20 to 30 minutes or until your rotini is cooked through and tender. We've been making this one for years and years. We like to top it with kind of like our favorite taco toppings. So guacamole, sour cream, lime, and cilantro. This one is so easy to prepare. You could add ingredients, take ingredients away. You could add like beans. If you're not a corn fan, don't add the corn in, but it's delicious. My husband's been requesting these boneless country style ribs, so now that is what we're making. To your slow cooker, add between 3 to 4 pounds of country style ribs. They're basically like boneless pork ribs. They're so tender and delicious once they're cooked. But just add them to your slow cooker with 1 cup of Dr. Pepper, or you could really use any type of soda. Then a 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce. Give this a little stir to coat the ribs in the soda and the barbecue sauce. Cook this on low for about 5 hours. You basically want the meat to be fall apart tender, so once your meat is fall apart tender, just add a little bit more barbecue sauce over the top, then you could serve this up. We served ours over a bed of mashed potatoes with coleslaw on the side. I'll show you that coleslaw recipe here in a moment, but these are just fall apart tender. We also serve this with green beans on the side, so if you're a rib fan but don't like, doing like a whole rack of ribs at once, these boneless ribs are definitely for you. Also, I want to say thank you to my friends at Wildgrain for sponsoring today's video. Honestly, you guys, I have been eyeing Wildgrain for about 6 months now. I have heard so many good things about it, so I finally decided to give it a try a couple months ago, and it is truly a brand I believe in. I have heard so many great things about these croissants, so when I tried them a couple months ago, I was just like flabbergasted. They're flaky on the outside, but like pillowy soft on the inside. Also, whenever we get these chocolate chunk cookies in the boxes, my little ones just think we need to make them right away. They really are that good, but they do use cleaner ingredients in their pastries, their pastas, and their breads, so you'll taste the difference. And then also everything stays in your freezer, so you bake it from frozen or cook it from frozen, so it's guaranteed to always be fresh. They were kind enough to give me a big discount code for you all, so just click the link in my description, use code Julia for $30 off your entire order, plus they'll throw in free croissants for life. And then you'll see this horse running over here in a moment. This horse is basically me whenever I smell chocolate chip cookies. I think these horses did smell the cookies as well. Now we're getting started on my popular apricot barbecue pork chops. They're just so delicious. To a little bowl, add in 1 cup of apricot preserves. This is the type I'm using. Then add in 1 cup of barbecue sauce. After you add those 2 ingredients together, just give it a stir. It doesn't need to be smooth, just, well combined. After that, you're going to set this to the side and you're going to pull out your pork chops. You could use bone-in or boneless pork chops. I'm using about 7 boneless pork chops today, and you want to to use at least 6 pork chops for this recipe, but just generously season on both sides with a dash of salt and pepper. And then after you're through seasoning your pork chops on both sides, you're going to pull out your slow cooker. And then you do want to make sure you spray your slow cooker with nonstick spray just for easy cleanup in the end. After you're through with that, you're going to add your pork chops in, and then you're going to pour the barbecue, kind of like apricot sauce, over the top. You have to trust me, that apricot sauce is so good. It doesn't taste like apricot-y, it's just delicious. But give this a little stir, get those pork chops coated in the sauce, cook this on low for about 6 hours. They should be so tender at that point. But I told you I'll show you my coleslaw recipe, so I'm going to share it with you now. This is my favorite coleslaw I like to make. So to a bowl, add in about 16 ounces of coleslaw mix, then add in a half a cup of mayonnaise, a tablespoon of lemon juice. Fresh lemon juice is best, but if you don't have it on hand like me, you could use the jarred lemon juice, and then a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. This recipe is on page 50 in my cookbook. It is in like the sides and appetizers section. It is just such a delicious coleslaw recipe. I make it all the time, so you definitely have to give this one a try. But just give this a super duper good stir, and then after you're through stirring it, let it sit in your fridge for at least 2 hours. I'm convinced whenever you cook your pork chops in the slow cooker like that, they just become so tender and they're just the best pork chops. We like to serve this over a bed of like white rice, or you could serve it over mashed potatoes, really anything you like. Just make sure you pour some of that sauce from the slow cooker over the top. It is just magical. We also serve this, of course, with our coleslaw and some snap peas on the side. Now we're getting started on this French onion chicken. So to a slow cooker, spray it with nonstick spray, just for easy cleanup in the end. Now add in a cup and a half of uncooked jasmine or white rice. Just add it right in there, and then you're going to add in about 2 chicken breasts, or you could use like boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I'm using chicken thighs today. Chicken thighs tend to be a little bit more juicy in the end. Then add in 1 yellow onion that you sliced into rings, along with 1 packet of Lipton onion soup mix. This is so flavorsome. Then add in 3 cups of either chicken or beef broth. Next, you're going to add in a 10-ounce can of French onion soup. Give this a good stir. You're going to cover this with a lid, let it cook on low for about 5 hours. Sometimes I have people telling me that their chicken breasts always come out super dry in their slow cooker. If your chicken breasts come out super dry always, it might be your slow cooker. Maybe your slow cooker is like on the older side and it is cooking unevenly or too hot. I had a slow cooker do that to me one time when it got quite a bit older. It was just cooking super unevenly. And then another thing you might want to try is doing chicken thighs instead of chicken breasts. Chicken thighs tend to be a lot more juicy than chicken breasts, so if you do find that happening, try chicken thighs and it might work out quite a bit better. Give this a good stir, and then you're going to put some slices of provolone cheese over the top, and then sprinkle the top with crispy fried onions. Cover this with a lid, let it cook for about 10 more minutes. I do want to let you know, rice is kind of more tricky to cook in your slow cooker just because it will get a little bit mushy. So if you cook this over 5 hours, I cooked mine for about 6 hours because I was out of my house. My rice got on the mushier side, but if you just cook it for that 5-hour time frame, it won't be mushy. But like I said, rice is a little bit more tricky in the slow cooker. Now we're getting started on these seasoned lemon chicken thighs. So to a small bowl, add in a half a cup of chicken broth. Also add in the juice from a half of a lemon. Just squirt it in there and then give this a whisk. These chicken thighs are so great if you want to meal prep them. Sometimes I meal prep them for lunches throughout the week. Super high protein and oh so delicious. But to a slow cooker, add in your chicken thighs. I'm using about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Then add in that broth mixture. Make sure your chicken thighs are about like an even layer in your slow cooker. Then season this with a dash of salt and pepper. The rest of the seasonings you're going to use is a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika. These chicken thighs are also great to meal prep because they are so affordable. So chicken thighs are like one of the more affordable cuts of meat you could get at the store, but they are still high protein. So if you're looking to save money on some lunches, this is a great route to go with these chicken thighs. But I added about a tablespoon of minced garlic all over the top and 1/4 cup of sliced butter. I cooked this on low for 6 hours and my house was smelling so good. I baked up one of my loaves of wild grain sourdough bread, and unlike store bread, the sourdough is a real deal. It's slow fermented, so it's easier on your belly. It's also richer in nutrients and antioxidants. The sourdough is definitely one of my favorite items to get in my wild grain boxes, but the chicken is so juicy. It is like so herby and delicious. I really like cooking chicken like this in my slow cooker, but I served it alongside of my bread with a little butter, then some steamed green beans on the side. Now we're getting started on these classic meatball subs, and even if you're not a big meatball sub person, you need to try these ones at least once. To your slow cooker, add in 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, and then 1 teaspoon of dried basil, a dash of pepper, and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Add in 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and then give this a little stir. I did also add in 1/2 cup of water, but I just didn't film me adding that in. But now we're getting started on the meatball mixture, so I added 1 pound of lean ground beef into this bowl. Next, add in 3/4 cup of Italian-style breadcrumbs. The Italian-style breadcrumbs just add great flavor. Then add in an egg along with 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and then 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley, and then give this a super duper good mix. I ended up mixing it with my hand just to get it, mixed well. But now you're going to form your meatball mixture into mini kind of like golf balls and place it onto the marinara sauce into your slow cooker. Cook this on low for about 6 to 7 hours. Your house is going to be smelling like a fancy Italian restaurant once the cooking time is up. We served our meatball subs in these slow fermented ciabatta rolls. They came from Wildgrain, and I just baked them according to the package instructions. Now I'm slicing them open. They were like so fluffy on the inside and a little bit crispy on the outside. Absolutely delicious. But place some of the meatballs inside of each of the rolls, and then you're going to bake it with some mozzarella cheese over the top for about a minute or two on the broil setting. You basically just want that cheese to melt. Like I said before, even if you're not the biggest meatball sub fan in the world, you need to give these ones a try. They are so delicious, and if you don't want to use like ground beef for the meat, you could always use ground turkey, ground chicken, or any meat substitute, but these are so rich, delicious, and oh so flavorsome. We served our meatball subs alongside of a side salad, and if you want to check out Wildgrain, be sure to click the link in my description and use code Julia for $30 off your entire order plus free croissants for life. Thank you guys so much for being here today, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. Bye for now.